Welcome to the Sacred Success Summit, where you access the secrets to sacred success and become even more of the goddess you've always known you were. Your host for this session is Samantha Ka'awa. Samantha is a best-selling author, keynote speaker, and esteemed marriage coach, recognized for her counterculture approach to transforming relationships. Samantha has been featured on TEDx, Fox, ABC, CBS, and other international publications and podcasts. Co-creator of this summit, Samantha, is eager to introduce another inspirational guest. Take it away, Samantha.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. I have Christopher Chamberlin in the house. Hey, Christopher.
Hey.
And we are both in Hawaii this time. That's
yes.
So cool. But on different islands, unfortunately. We're
so close.
A little hop away. Before we get started, I want to formally introduce all of you to Christopher, because he has an amazing background and I could go on and on and on for days. So let me just read this really short one that encompasses everything. So, all right. So Christopher, AKA Lionheart Chamberlin, is a trailblazer in psychedelic integration and transformative coaching, dedicated to empowering individuals to unlock their fullest potential. With a rich background in psychology, neuroscience, practical spirituality, shamanic practices, and mindfulness, he guides individuals through profound personal and professional transformations. Christopher's approach combines ancient wisdom with modern science, offering a unique pathway to healing, creativity, and peak performance for those ready to embark on a life expansion journey. Oh my goodness. Welcome, Christopher. Look at that. That was so, you have such a wealth of wisdom behind you. It's such an honor to have you here.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Well, let's dive into this. Before we actually go into your talk, which is the psychedelic path to freedom and fulfillment. And I know you have some juicy stuff in there for us. But before we get there, can you give us a little bit of history of how you got from where you were to where you are now and all the things that you do today?
A little bit of history.
Well, we don't have all day. I know you have a really deep history.
Yeah, thank you, Samantha. And again, I'm extremely honored to be here in this co-creative space and in this beautiful, feminine, powerful feminine, creative, transformative energy that is the Sacred Success Summit and all of the beautiful souls that make up this summit. So thank you for that. I want to take just a couple minutes. I promise we'll jump into some history, but if you're on this call and if you're watching this afterwards as a recording, I want to take this moment to take a few breaths together.
Let's do that.
Very sacred experience that we could have to breathe the same breath of life. And so if you would close your eyes, allow yourself to settle in to wherever you are. And by the way, if you're driving, please pull over.
Don't close your eyes.
Yeah, take a moment and just be with your breath and notice now that breath that sustains you. Now be a little bit more intentional. Take a deep inhale in through your nose. You hold it for a count of 4, and then a deep exhale through the lips. And a couple more times at your own pace, a deep inhale through the breath, through the nose, breathing my breath of life, relaxing into this moment, recognizing that you're here for a reason, for your reasons. And you can be present here now. That's good. That's right. Right. We can open our eyes and thank you for that.
That was beautiful. Thank you for grounding us. Yes, Patty says, thank you, thank you. Nice. Thank you, Chris. All our energies are now like Zen.
Hey, I promise we'll bring it back up.
No, Zen is good too.
Go ahead.
But
Right.
yeah, go ahead. Tell us your story, Chris.
Right. And so that's actually a really great segue into, just dropping into my body, being aware of the nervousness, the excitement, feeling my adrenaline, my heart rate raising. And that is a state that really defined a major part of my life. Definitely the formidable years as a child. Before the age of 17, I endured some very tragic and traumatic events, sexual abuse, physical abuse. 7 alcoholic fathers were physically abusive, mentally abusive, emotionally abusive, who were addicts. Um, and then at the age of 16, um, my brother, who was 2 years older than me, he took his own life.
Mm.
And he passed away as I held him in my arms. And so that's a very tragic, traumatic start to a life. I'm now 55. And from the perspective that I have now, what I want you to know about that time is that I was very much a warrior. I was very much connected to the uh, fight or flight or freeze or fawn
Mhm.
mechanism, right? And so as I came into this space today on this call, um, not only did I want to connect spiritually with the breath of life, but I also wanted to ground myself, right? Um, because that experience, those feelings, those emotions, those sensations are the same feelings, emotions, and sensations that I experienced in those moments that I shared with you, right?
Mhm.
And what has brought me to today and the contrast is that I have spent a lifetime studying, understanding, practicing, synthesizing technologies, frameworks, methodologies for deep healing, transformation, and peak performance,
Yeah.
right? And that was one of them. That exercise that we just experienced together.
Mhm.
Anybody can do that anywhere in any moment. You can do it with your eyes open. But when
Mhm.
we connect with our breath, then we get a flood of neurochemicals that alter our state almost instantaneously, right? So that's a little bit of history.
Just a little bit. You just gave us a micro dose of history with a really big impact. So thank you for sharing that. You got a lot of thank yous and hearts in the chat for you. You're just always, we've had you on here, our stage before, and we've always had raving reviews of how vulnerable and authentic and just genuine you are. So I, yes, I just want to echo what everyone else is saying in the chat. So thank you, Christopher. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. So, and we've got to watch you on your journey too. Like, as you spoke on this stage, it has transformed. Your talks have shifted ever so slightly. Your story remains the same. Your origin story remains the same, and yet your evolution continues. So it's really amazing and profound to watch you through this. Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, and you know what just dropped in for me was there's an echo effect, right?
Mm,
And so yes, my journey is transformed, but it's the way that I relate to those experiences today, right?
right.
And it's not that the pain ever goes away. Pain is inevitable.
Hmm.
Suffering is optional,
Yes.
right?
Yes. That's a
And-
writer downer.
right. Yes. And so yes, as I was sharing in that moment, those experiences, it triggered, there was the echo effect, right?
Mhm.
And there are neurological pathways that are still connected to those events that trigger the same neurochemical cocktail that sends me into pain sensations, right?
Yeah.
Um, the sadness, the fear, the overwhelm, the anxiety, right? The difference is in my ability to transform, to transmute, to transcend those responses, right?
Yes.
That I can turn it on and turn it off. So we're going to dive into, um, altered states of consciousness today. I'm really excited about
Yes. Oh,
talking.
let's go. Let's dive in. What's the first thing you wanted to share with our
Well,
audience?
well, we have some myths to bust today, right?
Yeah,
So,
let's bust them.
yeah, let's bust some myths. And here's the first myth that we're going to bust today. So we've all been told that the mind is everything, that what you think you become. I think it was Buddha that said that. Forgive me, Buddha. I love you. God bless you. Um, all respect,
Yes.
brother.
Yes.
And this is why that is not true.
Okay.
So I think somebody shared this yesterday. I think it was Candace. She shared that we have an estimated 70,000 thoughts per day.
Hmm.
70,000 thoughts per day. And over 70 to 80% of those thoughts are negative or disempowering thoughts. Lord help us. That's
Yes.
the truth. That's the truth. And so we cannot be all of our thoughts. Agree?
Mm-mm. Yes. Yes.
Right. So this tendency, by the way, it's known as the negative bias, right? It
Okay.
means that we're more likely to focus on and remember negative experiences or
Hmm.
information, negative experiences or information than we are positive ones. It's
Okay.
why it's so easy for me to go into the neurochemical, physiological, emotional state
Hmm.
when I start recounting the experience that I had as a child.
Yes. Yes.
Because those are the predominant thoughts throughout our entire lifetime.
Yes.
So in our waking state, then, we are operating almost entirely from survival mode, from this contracted state of being
Because of the negative bias.
because of the negative bias,
Okay.
right? Um, so how can we address the prevalence of self-criticism and negative beliefs that permeate so much of our thinking?
Yeah.
How?
Yes. Well, sorry. Benjamin asked you to say that again. I think Benjamin was talking about um we are in this survival mode, right? At majority of the time. So
Right.
say that phrase again. I think they wanted to hear it again.
Yes. So in the so 80% of our thoughts, our predominant thoughts, are negative or disempowering, right?
Mhm.
And in psychology, we call this the negative bias. All right. It means that we focus on and we remember the negative uh, experiences over the positive ones.
Hmm.
So in our waking state, we operate almost entirely from survival mode.
That's what he wanted you to repeat. In our waking state, we operate
In
most,
our waking state. And I want you to latch on to in our waking state.
meaning when we're conscious and alert and awake, not sleeping.
Precisely.
Okay. I just want to clarify that because not
Yes.
everybody knows what
Yeah.
waking state means. Yes.
Yeah. This is foundational. This is foundational. In our waking state right now, our predominant thoughts are negative, and we are predominantly in survival mode. Okay.
Got it.
So, would you like some good news now?
Yes. Oh, and then
Okay.
Nancy's asking about reptilian minds. In some ways, it's
Yeah, I mean
not
it's
only
it's
reptilian.
sometimes been referred to as the reptilian mind. Listen, our and there's no guilt or shame or judgment about this. We love all parts, or we're learning to love all parts of ourselves. We honor this part of ourselves because it's kept our species alive for since we've existed, right?
Yes. Yes.
We need this reptilian survival mode, okay? Um, and I didn't intend to go down this
It's
road.
okay. No, no,
But
no. Well, you don't have
but
to go down more.
this is really foundational, right? So,
It is.
but I think we all understand. We've all heard about the reptilian brain, fight or flight, right? The sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is based on fight, flight, or freeze. When we're in that state, it actually shuts down the parts of our brain that are responsible for
Cognitive
creativity,
function.
for cognitive function, for where all possibility exists. We
Yes.
basically have three options. We're going to fight, we're going to run away, or we're going to roll over and pretend to be dead,
Yes.
or just die.
Yes.
That's it,
Yes.
right? Uh,
So tell us
and
the
so
good news, Christopher. Tell us the
so,
good news.
so the cliffhanger, I like brought you right up to the edge. No, we'll get to that later. No, seriously, good news. So, so I was in the jungles of Costa Rica, and I was preparing for my very first ayahuasca journey.
Mhm.
And I approached the shaman and I asked what I can look forward to.
Oh.
And he responded with this news: you are not your body, you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are not your sensations. And I'll never forget, that became my chant the entire night. I am not these sensations. I am not my body. I am not these thoughts. Okay, that's the good news. So
Okay.
that's myth number one, is that we are not our thoughts.
Yes, we are not our thoughts.
We are not our thoughts.
No, it doesn't equate to who we are. I love that. That's so profound, especially because it's so ingrained in us to think like, and I see it so often, right? My background is also in psychology, like and doing a lot of work with clients. They, as soon as they catch that thought, that negative thought, they judge themselves, and then they judge the judgment, and then they judge right, and then they're like, oh, I'm a horrible person because I had that one thought and I caught it, right? And so it's, as much as I think people say they know it, this is something my mentor would say, there's a difference between knowing about something and actually knowing it. So until we are fully embodying this wisdom and this knowledge, we don't know it. We know about it, right? And so you're talking about this embodiment of, we are not our thoughts, right?
Right. Hmm.
Yeah. And then for those of the people here, I just don't want to make this assumption. You mentioned going on an ayahuasca journey in Costa Rica. What is ayahuasca so that people know what you're talking about?
Sure. And so we're leading up to that. I
Oh, okay.
promise we're gonna talk about psychedelics and ayahuasca. And so the second myth, I kind of started to allude to this. The second myth is that that when we don't feel good, when we're experiencing an emotion like anger, frustration, anxiety, overwhelm,
Hmm.
we've been told that we can just reach for a better feeling
Okay.
and everything will be okay. And the reason that is not true is also because of the fact that it is now known that as humans, we experience and we have the capacity to experience over 34,000 emotions.
Hmm.
And it's not linear. And it's not
34,000 emotions. Whew.
34,000 emotions. We have
Yeah.
the capacity, and it's not linear. In other words, and you're not experiencing one in one single moment. You could be
No.
experiencing many in the same moment,
Yes,
right?
I agree with you.
And so that just blows that idea of just pick a better feeling out of the wall, right? Okay, so what we need to understand is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, right?
Mhm.
And if we're not this body, if we're not these thoughts, if we're not these emotions, if we're not these sensations, then we are what?
Yeah, what?
Who, who is the I? Who's the I that I am, right?
Yes.
Uh, and so for me, I frame that this way. The I that I am, spirit, energy, source, creation, vibration, whatever you want to call that. It's a bit ephemeral. It's hard to wrap our hands around it. But the I that I am is given this vessel,
Mhm.
which is a transmitter and a receiver
Mhm.
through which I can experience the infinite number of impressions, of experiences that there are to experience in this reality and potentially other realities. Does that
Okay,
make sense?
let me like recap that to
Yeah,
make
help
sure
me
that
out, Sam.
that landed. I'm hearing that you're saying that this is the vessel. Our body is simply a vessel that we are transmuting into, right? As spiritual beings having this human experience that allows us to have these impressions. You use the word impressions, infinite impressions, um, uh, to what we would therefore call our life experiences.
Right. So emotions, 34,000
Mm,
iterations of emotions, ways that emotionally we can experience this reality, right? Through
yes,
this vessel,
through this
right?
vessel. Yes,
Right.
and only through this vessel. I don't believe. I mean, let me ask you if you have the same belief. But as spiritual beings outside of our body, not incarnated here, we are much more neutral in and not as emotional creatures. Does that is that true to your belief as well? And like that's this human experience is that 34,000 emotions that we get to experience through
Right.
this vessel. Okay.
In the waking state.
In the waking state. Okay, got
Right.
it.
And and the point that I'm making here is the waking state is predominantly contracted, limited.
Yes. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so do you want to talk about psychedelics?
Yes. Let's do it.
All right. So why would somebody consider psychedelics?
Well,
Um,
wait, before you go into that, what is a psychedelic, Christopher? Let's not assume people know what that is.
sure. So if I can give you a basic.
Yeah, like just like a one
Yeah,
liner.
right. Yeah. So I mean, there are multiple classes of psychedelics. I prefer to work primarily, almost exclusively with plant-based psychedelics, like
Got it.
ayahuasca, um, um, or psilocybin, magic mushrooms. But there's also laboratory synthesized psychedelics like LSD,
Hmm.
MDMA. Those are the primary ones,
Right.
right? And psychedelics have been characterized as substances that can produce altered states of consciousness,
Okay.
or what I like to refer to as expanded states of consciousness.
And can I add this here? I just watched a movie. I don't know. Did you watch the movie Lucy before? It's an old movie.
All right.
Morgan Freeman, uh, Scarlett Johansson. Well, I just rewatched it recently, and they talk about how we only use a really small percentage of our brain, right? Like our capacity as a human. And that's what you're talking. In the waking state, we use maybe 3% capacity of what we have technically access to, if we are to unlock those those pathways. And you're talking about an altered state, meaning like an expanded capacity, right? And
Right.
use.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and or expanded states of consciousness, altered states of consciousness. Um, you know, the first leap, the easiest leap is from waking state to sleeping state to dream state, right?
Okay. Yep.
We're all familiar with dream state, and we can probably all agree that it's very different from our waking state. We can experience um, the experience in the sleeping state can be euphoric. It can
Mhm.
be visionary. We can get access to even creative ideas, right? Um, some people keep a journal next to their bed because they get insights in
Right.
this state of consciousness, right? And scientists have shown the activity in the brain completely changes. The wavelengths, the vibration, the vibratory presence of the brain is completely different in
Yeah.
the sleeping state. Well, the same is true for the altered states of consciousness that can be achieved with substances, plant medicine like psilocybin, like ayahuasca, like LSD, like MDMA.
Hmm.
Ketamine is another popular one. And so we um, we are experiencing the psychedelic renaissance. We're seeing we're seeing psychedelic assisted therapy is
Yes, we are.
gaining significant attention, right,
Hmm.
in recent
Yes.
years, as a potential breakthrough for mental health, uh,
Hmm.
for treating mental health, and
Like schizophrenia. There's a lot of studies now. Yes, absolutely.
schizophrenia, PTSD,
PTSD. Yep.
right? Curing addictions,
Hmm.
um, right? And so there is um, there is information, there are resources
Yeah.
in these other states of consciousness.
Yes. So tell us more. Sorry, I'm making you go down these tangents, but I don't want
That
to
is
lose
great.
anyone
Let
just
me
because they don't know what it is.
let me jump in. Would it be okay if I jump into some myths around
Yeah,
psych?
let's do it. Let's
Okay.
go.
I think it's responsible that I share this myth, right up front. And it's the myth that psychedelics are for everyone.
Mm. Anyone
Um,
can use
any
it.
anyone. In fact, I'm hearing some proponents go as far as to say if the entire world would just sit through ayahuasca ceremony, we would solve world hunger, world we would have world peace, there would be no more wars. And I'm sorry, but it's just not true. And here are some reasons why.
Yes.
Um, First of all, and and I think you might have shared with me, Samantha, in one of our conversations, medically, it is not right for everybody.
No, I am not qualified. I got
Yeah.
disqualified.
Uh, What is the word? Contradictions?
Yeah, contraindications. Yep.
Contra contraindications. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's a really tough word to say.
Yeah, say
So
that 10 times.
contraindications. So there are contraindications. In other words, if you're if you're on certain medications, you cannot consume ayahuasca and or other psychedelic substances. You
Mm,
just cannot, and
mhm.
you will be putting your life at risk.
Yes.
If you suffer from schizophrenia, you cannot safely uh, take ayahuasca medicine or
Mm,
other psych or other psychedelics. So it's not for everybody.
mhm.
It's
Yeah,
it's
mine was a heart condition. Like I have a diagnosis. Like I don't take medication, but I have a prior heart condition that disqualified me
right,
from
right.
using psychedelics. Yep.
And and that leads me to the second myth
Okay. What's that?
that that all psychedelics are dangerous and addictive.
Yeah, the addictive part is I think there's a lot of fear around that. Because we're talking about the non-plant-based medicine uh being actually used and abused. So,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And a lot of this myth comes from the war on drugs.
Mm,
And I don't know if I might be aging myself. I don't know if any of you remember, I think it was in the 80s or 90s, there was a political campaign commercial, and it was they showed a frying pan frying eggs, and it's sizzling, and you can
yeah, we got the
understand.
egg commercials. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And the guy comes on, he says, "This is your brain on drugs."
Oh my gosh. Okay, I didn't see
Right?
that
Yeah.
one.
So psychedelics are dangerous. Came out of the war on drugs,
Yeah.
and they're addictive. Well, in fact, um, although there can be risks like the health risks that we talked about, um, they in fact are not dangerous or addictive. In
Mm,
fact, um, your body actually builds up a tolerance
uh-huh.
to these particular substances, so that you need less. You actually need less.
Okay.
So they are actually non.
Okay, let me like just presence that for people because I have a background in addiction too. Addiction, I was a substance use counselor. When we're talking about addiction, you actually need more to achieve the same state as when you took your first dose or hit or right use. And you're saying with these plant-based as well as like any type of these psychedelics, or is it just the plant-based ones?
No, it's
All
the
psychedelics.
base and yeah,
You need less to actually achieve the
same
initial experience.
the same impact.
Got
Uh,
it.
yeah, Samantha, I know you're practiced in mindfulness practices, meditation, right? Probably breath work, um, and it's very similar to those practices. Actually,
Okay.
as you get better at practicing, I remember the first time I tried to meditate, and for like 30 minutes, and my mind is just all over the place. Now when I close my eyes and I center on my breath, I can drop into that sense of calm and peace and quiet my mind almost instantaneously,
Yeah.
right?
Like you have accessed it and now you have
Exactly.
this like established pathway.
Yes,
Nice.
exactly.
Yeah. We had a question in the chat. Do you need to be with a qualified person? Um, and Kathy said, I have a magic mushroom shop just open up near me, but I would not even know what and where and how to begin.
So, Samantha, I think it was you that I heard yesterday. You said that we cannot see the picture because we're in the frame.
Yes, yes.
So that's a very beautiful analogy, and it's very appropriate to answer this question. The answer is no, absolutely no.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Recreationally, if you just want to go on a trip, um, go be by yourself. But it is absolutely critical for therapeutic purposes. If you're serious and intentional about deep healing,
Yeah.
about transformation, about expansion, expanding your excuse me, your consciousness, about spiritual connection, you absolutely need a uh, experienced guide,
Mm-hmm.
right? Somebody
Mm-hmm.
outside of the frame that can objectively guide you through a very, very subjective experience that you are having.
Yeah.
And it's because of this after experiencing over 24 ayahuasca journeys over the past 3 years, what I found was that there were some attempts to guide people um, well, definitely in the facilitation with a professional shaman. There's excellent guidance there with the
Mm-hmm.
right set and setting.
Yeah.
What I found was there was very little guidance in preparation for the journey, and
Okay.
and very little guidance following the journey, which I believe is actually the biggest journey. The journey is having the psychedelic journey. The journey is when we come back into this vessel and we
Yes,
now
yes.
have to translate what we brought back from that state of consciousness into and manifest and embody that. How do we do that? You
So
need
would
a
you say as you're physically showing us, would you say that journey with psychedelics takes you out of this vessel, allows you to understand and experience in different states, and then returning back into the vessel? So, and that's even more why you can't see the picture when you're in the frame, because who knows where the frame is and someone else needs to see you.
right. You ain't in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. Yeah, that frame has
You're like,
moved.
where is that? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a beautiful description, right? Yeah, I mean, the frame isn't even on this planet. Like,
Yeah.
it could be in another,
Dimension. Yes.
dimension. Right, right. And so integration, integration is so key. And
Mhm.
actually, this word and this concept of integration, it applies to all of us teachers, instructors, coaches, facilitators, guides, right?
Mhm.
That is at the core of what we do. Um, you were just full of great analogies yesterday. I keep remembering your analogies. You,
Oh,
you
thanks.
talked about unlocking, like you
The
have all
shed.
these tools in the shed, and
Yeah.
they're absolutely worthless sitting locked up in the
They
shed.
rest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And so it's like in these altered states of consciousness that you're given the key to unlock the tool shed
Mhm.
and and get start getting familiar with a whole new set of tools.
Yeah.
And then after the experience, it's almost like you lock the shed up and you come back into this waking state, and
Mm.
they're still sitting there, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so integration is, or can be, with an experienced guide, can be the bridge between the waking state and the altered
Okay.
state, the
Yeah.
expanded states. It
Hmm.
could be the bridge to bring those tools and those technologies and those insights and those
Yeah.
understandings and those points of references back
Hmm.
into the waking state. Integration is that bridge. Integration is
Yeah.
that key. And you need a guide to help
Hmm.
you bridge that.
Achieve that. Yeah. So what comes to my mind when you say that is like when you're in that altered state, when you're, you know, in the ether, wherever that may be, right? This altered state of consciousness, you have this knowing and understanding, and it all makes sense, and it's great, and and it's not always great. I'm sure it's not always great. I've never experienced it, but I've heard it's not always great. But it's there's an understanding, and then when you like you go back into this vessel, into your body, you're like, wait, what? Sometimes like, what did that mean? What did I knew it there? I don't understand it here. And that's what you're talking about, the bridge, right?
Right,
That's what you're
right.
talking about, the support
Yeah,
that can
yeah,
help you like reconfigure it so it makes sense in the human mind.
exactly. Right.
Got it.
And there are psychedelics are not the only way to
Mhm.
access altered states of
Yeah,
consciousness.
tell me, because I can't do it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So for those of you who can't do it or just will not do it, and it's not easy. It's the most challenging work that I've done in my lifetime over the last 3 years. Again, over 24 ayahuasca journeys. It is the most challenging work because you will come face to face with the darkest parts of you.
Let me pause this because I think this is impactful, right? There's so many people who are like, that's cheating. You're cheating if you're using ayahuasca or psychedelics. And you're saying what I'm hearing you say right now, this is the hardest work that you've done.
Right. Yeah. And so if you've done personal development 1.0, this is personal development 5.0.
Nice.
Listen, yeah, I mean, hacking our mind, neuroplasticity,
Mhm.
positive thinking, cognitive behavioral therapy, all beautiful things, but they're really in more on this plane, on this dimension, in this state of consciousness, right? And so if you're longing for, if you're drawn to, if you're feeling called to more, if personal development 1.0 has been great, and and I honor you and respect all of you for all of the work that you've done, and yet you feel like there's more to do, this is the more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. So I want to actually, because I know that there's ways that you can answer these questions well beyond our talk today. So I mean, I know you have more to share, but I want to be mindful of our time and maybe in this transition over to talking about the ways that, well, one, the gifts that you have for the people listening, but two, like integrating some of more of these myths as we're sharing what you have to offer. So I want to do that. Are we good with
Yeah,
transitioning
let's
there?
transition.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the two gifts that our regular participants, every participant has access to, as well as the VIP participants first. And then I want to go into this amazing offer that you uh, are allowing our attendees to have access to. So the first gift that you are sharing with our audience is the Sacred Success Hypnosis, Unlock Your Highest Potential, right? That's the
Yeah.
first gift that you're sharing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, real quick. Let me, so that's a great segue from what we just left, which is the conversation about how do we bridge waking consciousness with all of the
Yes.
insights, learning, and experience in the altered states of consciousness. And hypnosis, I've found, is a beautiful bridge. Hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming, and so I worked through a very rigorous program, getting certified by one of the top hypnotherapists in the world, Paul McKenna,
Nice.
and so I now excuse me, I now utilize excuse me, hypnotherapy and NLP to help bridge uh, the those two worlds. And for example, hypnotherapy can take us is another portal to
Mm-hmm.
accessing deeper levels of consciousness, and so we can experience vivid imagination. We can experience what it looks like, what it feels like, even what it tastes like, what it sounds like. And then we can use psychosensory like anchoring, like we can bring our fingers together in that moment, in that trance, in that
Mm-hmm.
deep suggestive subconscious level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that creates an anchor to that experience, right? Our
Right. To give us
breath,
access, to give us
yes,
access and
to give us access in the waking state.
okay, got it.
We can access
Mm-hmm.
we can get the same flood of neurochemicals associated with the bliss, with the high level of confidence, with the success that we want.
Yeah, I love that. So this is a gift. So this is in kind of like, is this a meditation or is this an actual?
It's a I recorded a hypnotherapy session, uh,
Nice.
and
So it's
I
like a
was
guided, it's guided, right?
right. It's
Guided
guided,
recording.
so right.
Hmm.
So I will guide you into a very relaxed, suggestive state, and we will access your consciousness, and it's primarily for confidence.
Nice. Okay, yes, download it, download it. If you haven't, click on the link, download it now. This is super powerful and such an amazing gift. This is the free gift, okay? Like we're just getting started. Like this is just the free gift. So let's talk about the VIP gift which is the rapid transformational tech for sacred success, 3-day virtual live. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So it's going to be three days, 2 hours with me live via Zoom, and it's going to be a deeper dive into a continuation of this conversation, right?
Mhm.
And exploring technologies, not just psychedelics, but technologies like hypnotherapy, NLP, and other technologies that I want to give some very practical. You can start applying this in your life right now.
Yeah, I love that. Who wants a 3-day, 2 hours for 3 days with Christopher Chamberlin? Yes.
Upgrade to VIP,
Yes.
baby.
Upgrade to VIP. What a amazing gift that you're giving us. Yep. When do you know the dates? I know you're in Hawaii, so you're not like at home on your desk.
I Yeah, if you go to the link, I did
It
put
should.
things in there.
Okay, so go check out the VIP portal and click on the link and the dates will be there.
Yeah, the dates are
And
in
if
there.
if not, you reach out to Christopher and or do what we're going to talk about next. Okay, so Christopher, you are a featured speaker here today. You are one of the main speakers, and you have something in addition to offer that people can opt into and purchase with you. So what is that opportunity that you're giving to them?
All right. This is the big one. I'm really excited to offer this. I've never offered this before. I've only offered one-on-one coaching for a year-long program, and people come to my house. My clients come to my house, and they get a full immersion, 2 days with me, and we do deep dives. And this is the first time I'm offering a group coaching program, and I wanted to make it as affordable as possible and just add a ton of value. And so forgive me. I'm gonna be reading from this because I want you guys to get all of this. All right.
Yes,
So,
yes.
um,
Tell us.
all right. So this is 6 weeks of expanded states of consciousness for sacred success. I want you to stop chasing your future self. I want you to be it now.
Mm,
I want you to transform your beliefs, optimize your biology, cultivate spirituality, and unlock peak performance, deep fulfillment, and greater impact because we're all here to have greater impact,
okay,
right?
who wants to have greater impact? Yes, I want to see some yeses in that chat.
So
Yeah.
I
Yes.
promise you over these 6 weeks, I will empower you, not implore you, not advise you. I will empower you. You will gain the tools are within you. So I will empower you to rewire your subconscious patterns and unlock profound personal and professional growth at the deepest levels of consciousness in
Mm,
the shortest amount of time using the most advanced technologies in personal development and human evolution
yeah, I love
so
that.
that you experience more love, more peace, more joy, and more abundance. So,
Amen.
are you ready to transcend your limits?
Yes,
Embrace the success and fulfillment you deserve. In
tell
just
us.
6 weeks, you
6 weeks.
will learn
Okay, let me like presence that. 6 weeks. Like that is
over
like bare
period
minimum of
right,
timing. Like
not
that's
12 months, not
right.
2 years. This is not
That's
personal
a month
development
and a
one
half.
by
You're
one.
telling me you can help us in a month and a half.
In a month and a half.
Whew, that's
You will
profound.
learn and implement expanded states of consciousness for deep healing, rapid transformational, emotional intelligence, emotional resilience.
And we don't need to do ayahuasca. Like if we
And
are
you do not need to
disqualified.
do ayahuasca.
That's profound.
And I
Okay.
can help and I can help you with that if that
Right.
is
But
right.
this journey is not, it's not a requisite. Like you don't have to do
Right.
plant
You-
medicine
right.
on
And
this journey.
you don't even have to do psychedelics. You're going to learn more. We will deep dive, but you
And
don't
so,
have
but
to,
you also can.
but you also can.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So this I have been developing this program for over 2 years. And and originally it was a $5,500 program. It was 9 weeks. And then I shortened it to 6 weeks and I lowered the price to $3,500.
Which
For
is still an amazing deal.
yes, for a limited time and a limited number of seats for those who are on this call or who get the VIP package and watch this call if it's in time.
Yes.
You can go to the link that Samantha is going to drop in there and unlock a $3,500 value at an
Sherry will drop
exclusive
that. Yep.
Sacred Success Summit rate of just $1,397.
Oh my goodness. Let's go.
So embark
1397. Sherry, can you drop
on a
that link for his?
transformative journey with me. Let's
Yes.
go.
Yes. Let's do this thing.
And I want to
There it is.
so something else dropped in for me yesterday. And
Oh, and I see that we have like 40 seconds. So
8 seconds. So also I want you to know, join me in making a difference. 10% of all the revenue generated from this program, from your investment, will be donated to Build a Village,
yes.
the organization that is sponsoring the summit this year.
I love that.
Help
Thank
me
you so
give
much.
back.
Chris. Yes, Chris is giving back 10%. I'm trying to click the link and it's not working. So Sherry, can you drop it one more time? And it is a virtual course, correct? Like you're delivering it virtually.
I will be live and I'll drop those links into just, oh, did they work?
It works for them. Okay, perfect. So
All right.
final words of wisdom, Chris, as we head on out.
Thank you, co-creators. Let's co-create expansion together. I love you. I love you. I love you. Ciao.
Love you too. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing session on the Sacred Success Summit. For more information or to apply to be a speaker at one of our upcoming events, email our team at breakthrough at clarityconfidenceconnection.com. Now, tune in to another transformational speaker.